Nice smile. And looking far right. You come out a little bit. Not too much. Yeah, like that. That's it. Very good. Is everybody just smiling in my lens? Nice expressions, please. One more.
Thank you.
And we're going to
Take a group with the moderator. Let's just take a couple group shots with our moderator, Mohit Rajans. Thank you.
Okay, squeeze in. Okay, everybody, here we go. Good smile. Here we go. Very good. We're going to do a solo individual shot. And one more right here, miss. Right here. Nice neck to that. Wow. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
It's now my great pleasure to welcome the cast of the film Looper,
Argo, Spring Breakers,
Cloud Atlas,
Hotel Transylvania.
Silver Linings Playbook.
It just feels like a real film festival for the community.
It's very exciting for me to be here to support a film.
I wanted to show Toronto the way I experience it.
We want people to like our movies and understand them.
What makes it really special for me is the fact that the audiences have responded the way they have.
If I got lucky in the first two, this was the lottery.
I feel like I hit the jackpot. I mean, I can't believe that I'm sitting at a table, flanked by these people.
Every producer I've ever worked with is in that character. And a couple I invented.
You have to be faithful to what they really were.
But I certainly wouldn't, deign to think that we are godfathering anything. I do. And that's why he's got the beard.
First nice thing the press have ever done.
I was really happy to find out this is where we were coming.
I said, I'm in.
The festival of the people who live here.
That was amazing. Our moderator for today is Mohit Ranjans, and it is now my pleasure to welcome the director, screenwriter, producer, and cast for the film A Random Desi Romance. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's press conference for Should Desi Romance, or A Random Desi Romance, a film that has its gala premiere tonight at the Roy Thompson Hall. A Random Desi Romance is the journey of three restless young people who junk the society's syllabus for finding love and decide to follow their heart. Raghu, played by Sushant Singh Rajput, is a tourist guide in Jaipur and wants a love in his life, and that's it. The rest he's going to figure out along the way. Gayatri, played by Parniti Chopra, is a part-time instructor in an English-speaking institute and has been around the block a few times and knows the scene, warts and all. It's written here for me. I wish I could write it as well. Tara, played by Vani Kapoor, who's dying to get out there and fly, knows what's right for her, but a little experimenting never hurt anybody. From the director of Ban Baja Barat and the writer of Chak De India comes a very real love story about the hair-raising minefield between love, attraction, and commitment. Now, honored to have some great guests with us today, and I'm going to introduce them, starting with Manish on my right. Of course, Manish is the director of the film. Manish was born and grew up in New Delhi. Before moving to Mumbai in 2005, Manish pursued theater for 7 years. He received an MFA in film directing from Cal Arts. He's worked with Yash Raj Films as an assistant director on Fanna, an associate director on Aja Nachle, and Rab De Banari Jodi. Sorry, it's early for my Hindi. Manish made... I've already started to make you laugh, which is a good indication of how this is going to go.
He's going to want a bonus.
Yeah. No. Manish made his directorial debut with Band Baja Barat in 2010 and won the country's top film awards for the best debut director, including the Filmfare Award, Screen Award, Apsara Award, and the Fiki Frames Award. Now, to his left is the always giggly Pariniti Chopra. Of course, Pariniti Chopra is an Indian film actor who's post a finance degree from Manchester Business School. Just over 2 films old, Pariniti has won nearly 18 awards already, which goes to prove her prowess as a fine actress. Her next film, A Random Desi Romance, premieres tonight at the Toronto Film Festival, and we're delighted to have you with us, Pariniti, for the first time at TIFF.
Thank you.
Jaideep Sahni, of course, is a screenwriter and he's a lyricist in the film industry. He's most famous for Chak De India, Rocket Singh, Salesman of the Year, and Bunty or Bubbly. He also joins us for the first time here at the Toronto Film Festival. And of course, Avtar Panasar is with Yash Films, the only independently owned studio in India, and of course, the makers of that glorious intro that we hear every time a hit Indian film is presented. So welcome everybody, and please a warm welcome for our guests today.
Thank you.
Manish, let's start with the randomness of this romance. What was it that you thought to yourself, I need to bring these characters to life, and I want to do it with this story, this unconventional story as a backdrop?
Well, actually, my journey started with this film when I was down with a very severe disease, jaundice. I was basically bedridden for 3 weeks, and my producer called me and he said that I have a script. Why don't you give me a feedback now that you're lying down on the bed? And that's how I got to read the script, which I was not supposed to direct. It was just a feedback session. And I was very happy to see that it's written by Jaideep. It has always been a big dream to direct a Jaideep Sahni script for me, and I didn't know that's what is coming my way. So yeah, I mean, not in the best circumstances. I read the script when I was a little down and out, and I was genuinely very carried away in the sense that to say that the script was very real and the characters were very real in very real situations, all that was very exciting, but there was something very, very new about it in the sense that me, myself, has made a romantic comedy as my first film. And to see a script in the same genre, but it's almost like giving a completely turnaround to the genre. And the characters, the writing was very, very unique. I mean, I'm struggling to express because you guys have not seen the film. But once you see it, then
Yeah, there was a press screening yesterday. Many people
Oh,
have
okay.
seen it. Yeah.
So that helps. No, that's okay. No, I'm actually very relieved. So yeah, I mean, the most exciting thing about the film was that it was set in what we consider to be a small town in India. But what is perceived as very urban issues of commitment, of love, all those issues for the first time in Indian cinema we were seeing which are being dealt by very real people in a very small town kind of a space. And in a strange way, this romantic comedy was basically a comedy which is taking a spin on the romance part of things in real life. So I mean, it was very quirky in that sense, and very, very new. So that really attracted me in a big way, and it was very challenging because it's not a very formulaic film for its genre, and I mean, not formulaic in any which way. So that was a very challenging part. It's completely character driven, which are beautifully etched by Jaideep. So yeah, I mean, that was the biggest excitement, and one could sense that there's something very, very new and very, very refreshing coming out.
Pariniti, your character, a smoker, somebody who's been around the block. At one point, you couldn't keep track of your ex-boyfriends. I remember your character, of course. How different is this from you in real life, and how hard was it for you to get into this character?
I think it's 1000% different from me. I had nothing in common with the character, which was a huge challenge, but I think that was the fun of playing it. I don't smoke in real life. I do not have a long list of boyfriends behind me. But you know, it was so much fun. After my second film, which did really well for me, and my first, I was looking for something that was not me. You know, back in India, I was known for enthusiastic roles, bubbly roles, you know, whatever, all these words that were used for me as an actress and as a person. And I really wanted to break that. As long as I had a new script, a new role to play in it, and it was being, made by a great director, I was fine. But with Shuddh Desi Romance, I got Manish, who, directed my first film. I had Jaideep Sahani as the writer, who I always wanted to do. I wanted to do one script that was written by him. Plus my role was different, plus the film was different. So I didn't care that it was so different from me as a person. That was the fun of it, and I just had to do it.
Jaideep, talk about creating these characters and where you found your inspiration from, because I can't help but think that you would really have to be a fly on the wall in a certain situation to get these types of characters, because they're not very traditional when it comes to Indian cinema.
Yeah, that's true, but when I was writing it, I haven't seen too many movies, so I wasn't so aware of the legacy and the history and the rest of it. I just... Before this, the last film I'd written was called Rocket Singh Salesman of the Year. It got a lot of critical acclaim, but nobody turned up to see it in the theaters. So I was a little lost. And
perhaps it was ahead of its time.
Yeah, I learned that line. So thank you. So this is my first so-called romantic or relationships film or whatever. None of my earlier films have been in this direction. The only experience I've had in this direction was to write verses in the songs. Mm-hmm. So I used to just spoil other people's script by inserting songs in them.
Or enhancing. I would say you were enhancing other people's scripts, because the music is beautiful.
What really got me was that for last 10-15 years, after what is called cable revolution or internet now, the relationships in the youth have completely changed and flipped over in the last 10 or 15 years. And there's always been a traditional syllabus of the society and also of films, in the sense that the older societies are perhaps more, they have fixed syllabi of how young people should be conducting themselves and their relationships, and who you should be seeing and when you should be seeing them and who you should be marrying and why you should be marrying them. But it was all completely going for a toss and nobody was looking. It just caught my attention and I just started getting more into it. And it's very difficult to try and understand and capture people who are much younger than you. So I just tried my best. It's
definitely got that youth energy in it, which you're going to have to really stretch the imagination, I guess, as a writer.
Yeah, I mean, the whole genre thing and the age thing was a bit of a challenge for me. At least I thought when I started, because it's been a while for me.
Right.
But yeah, the good thing is that I got people who are younger and more talented than me to actually make the film. Manish, Parniti, rest of them. So I think they just kind of floated to the top on their shoulders, basically.
Avtar, tell me, obviously a leader in this industry with Yash Raj Films, what is it about the process that makes you stop and say, we know who the right actors are for these projects? Because the one thing I think that Yash Raj has always been able to do is attract top talent in the industry. How involved are you with that when it comes to the filmmaking?
The first thing is that for us as a company, and this is where we perhaps differ from a lot of other studios, we're really just driven by the creative process. The first and the most important thing is the script. And we don't work on projects where we're trying to sort of figure out, we put so-and-so in there, and package that. I think it really just stems entirely from the script. And once the script comes together, that's when we will start looking at casting.
Okay, but you have signed 2 of the artists in this film, I believe, to 3 picture deals, etc.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But that's just a studio model that we work with. I mean, this is now your 3rd film with us. It's also Manish's 3rd film with us. So I don't know if they're going to fly the nest, but but yeah, I
You
mean
wanna tell us something now or not?
we have three picture deals with all the talent that's assigned to our talent agency.
Right. Excellent. I'm going to open up the floor to questions, and while we wait for a mic to, okay, we can start. Go ahead, yeah.
Hey, Guneet from Filmy Cafe. First off, congratulations on the success the film is garnering in India and abroad, and we're going to see it in Canada very soon, so congratulations on that. I was at the screening yesterday, and after seeing it, I could relate to it. I liked it, talked to me, I connected with me. But there were people that didn't connect to it. So my question to you would be, why do you think there's this two-pronged or divergent reaction to the film? There's a generation that is connecting to it, and there's a generation that isn't connecting to it. And did you always see it coming?
And who's that to?
And you only go for it. Yes, to a certain extent, we expected that. Like I said, that traditional societies have a syllabus of how people should conduct their relationships, and in case of India, the way the film industry has shown relationships has also added to that syllabus, and it's become, the whole thing has become one. And we knew that but what was happening in real life with the young people was completely not like what we've been traditionally showing in movies. And so we expected that the young people are in a bit of a flux, in the sense that they have their feet in two boats, and there's this constant rubbing of tradition and modernity against each other in every town, every street, every mohalla, every shop, every home, and that's just so interesting to do. So that's why we did the film. But yes, we were aware of that, because there's almost a kind of a legacy of how love stories should be told. And yes, and we are YRF.
Yes, Raj, yeah.
So in a way, audience and filmmakers both have been, and writers have been trained to make and see relationship stories in a certain way, in a certain template, and we knew we were breaking that. But we were also confident that what we were saying is pretty much true, what it is happening, and pretty much true to what is happening. So there would be a section of people who would say, this is no way to tell a love story. It's a bit like a elders thing at home. But there would be people whose story it is, and they'll say, hey, this is our life. So we were ready for the conflict, and we are ready for the whole debate, and we are happy to be a part of it and happy to be saying our bit in it now.
See, the other thing is, I think we've been very honest with the positioning of the film from day one. We've never projected it as anything else. The campaign's been exactly that, and we've been very clear that, hey, you know what, this might not be for you, and this is what the film is, this might not be for you, so perhaps we won't see you at the cinemas.
You know, my decision to be a part of the film is very different from those who make it, obviously. You know, I solely look at it as something, a project, a film, whether I want to be a part of it, and that's all, you know. This film, okay, let me put it like this. After Ishaqzade, it was very easy for me to do an absolutely safe film, which was a love story. I could have asked for any typical Yash Raj films, you know, from Adi, and I could have done it. But there was a reason for 8 months I didn't sign a film. You know, there was no dearth of offers, but I didn't sign it because there was nothing new, there was nothing different, there was nothing groundbreaking in it. Shuddh Desi Romance does all of that. You know, it will hit you in the face, it will give you relationships the way they happen. And for me, that is very exciting. For me, it's exciting to go on set, to improvise and, you know, take from my own life and improvise on set. For me to become that person, even though she's not me. You know, it's very easy for me to be a heroine and, you know, dance around trees and all of that, but it doesn't excite me at this point. And why I'm saying all of this is because it proves to you that the film, the script, the story, the relationships, the dialogues, the world that we're showing in the film is nothing like you've seen before. When it comes to the diverse reactions to it, I think whether or not you like the film depends on how you approach love and relationships in your own life. Unfortunately, YRF has painted a very beautiful but larger than life picture. And that's great fun to watch. But nowadays, the audience is definitely looking for relatable scripts, relatable characters. You know, they want to see themselves on screen. They want to see their own stories on screen. And this does that. So those who've loved it have definitely seen a part of them. Those who haven't, and there'll be a lot of elders in that who are not open to such a brave thought. There'll be youngsters who are probably, you know, they already have kids or they've been married for 10 years, who will not see anything. But everybody has their own taste, everybody has their own approach in life, and it's perfectly okay to have mixed reactions. I think it's more fun that way anyway.
I really appreciated the most unromantic moment of the first kiss between you and the lead, because I felt so awkward about it. And it actually, Manish, was it a conscious decision not to open up the moment with that situation and just leave it awkward?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't think there was a possibility of any moment in the film at any given point, given the environment of the film and the nature of the film on paper itself. But yeah, I mean, I just want to add one thing to the diverse reactions, and then I'll come to the kiss.
Yeah, sure.
See, the thing is, we as a team, all of us, Jaideep, our producer, Adi, me, myself as a director, entire cast, and the team, we were all actually, if I may say so, we are surprised by the positive reaction than the negative reaction. We were quite prepared for a very huge divide in terms of the reaction that's going to come through. And I must say, without any arrogance and with all our humility, the idea was that we are trying to just show what exactly is happening with the issues of romance, love, commitment, etc., marriage, etc. And it's an observation we are just presenting, you know. So yeah, there was a very conscious call that we are not going to be rebellious about this thought. It will be presented with all the warmth possible. We were aware that a certain generation of people will have a not so great reaction towards it. But let's still have a dialogue with them in the best way possible, in the most respectful way possible. So yeah, there was a very conscious choice of presenting the whole story and the scenario in a very warm way. And then we just took the liberty of keeping things very, very lighthearted and entertaining. And hence and that's how the
awkward kiss,
the awkward kiss, or the hormone-ridden characters that there in the bus that there are. So yeah, the idea was to just keep the entertainment alive while we'll try and say things that are not spoken as yet in Hindi films or in Indian cinema, or however you want to put it.
See,
The
other thing, if I may, is the fact that this story being told in New York or in London or wherever wouldn't have had the same impact.
Yeah, please do.
Because that is sort of an accepted thing there. But the story being set in Jaipur and that happening there, I think that's the USP of the film, and hence the whole approach remains that.
Yeah, I agree. And there's this vibrance about the colors, etc., that are used in the film, and it's very bold, etc. Was that a decision you made with your cinematographer about how you wanted the scenery to really come alive on screen, even though these characters are so unique in that respect?
Yeah, totally. See, the thing is, the environment of the narrative is very, very rich was very, very rich on paper, and there was a conscious choice. In fact, if I may share this, between me and my cinematographer and my costume designers and my production designer, we just had this one word going: chaos theory. We were just very conscious of that all, especially a town like Jaipur. These are very bustling cities. Our characters are bustling with whatever they are going through, emotionally speaking, or the confusions that are within themselves. So yeah, we were going for the whole environment was supposed to be very, very chaotic through and through, and very real. So yeah, if you see Raghu and Gayatri in their one-bedroom space in the most sometimes romantic, sometimes not so romantic scenario, you will still have blaring horns and the cacophony of the neighborhood going all the time. So yeah, there was a very conscious decision, and hence to keep things very, very real and feel very real while you're watching it in a theater, you know.
Do we have another question from the audience as I ask slower to see? If not, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Armin from Bollywood Film Fame Canada magazine. I really love the music of the film. I think it really adds a rustic yet modern flavor. Tell me a little bit about the music of the film and how you think it enhanced both the storyline and the characters.
See, actually, let me just share one thing with you. Before
we sharing mood today. That's good.
Oh yes,
good for a press conference.
When we had set out to make this film, we had decided not to have any music in the film. That's how we had started, actually. And in the course of while workshopping with the actors and when we were getting into more detailing, Jaideep and I shared this thought that, okay, we should have as minimalistic songs as possible, but they should be there, and we'll make sure that they're helping the screenplay, and most definitely they're the voice of the characters in its lyrical writing. So yeah, the music was supposed to be very, very much embedded with the environment of the film, with how the characters think, speak, behave. So that's how the whole musical journey began, and hence the whole. Somewhere the movie is a marriage of traditional thoughts and the modernity and whatever lies within that. So same approach was applied to the music as well, and actually let me have Jaideep take over this thought, especially a song like Tere Mere Beech Mein. We were very clear that that song should not sound like a song as such. It's actually Raghu and Gayatri putting their terms and conditions across and having a conversation. And their voices are also there. Yeah. So there was a very conscious effort to break the songness of things in a fairly realistic telling of the story, So he can talk about more of the lyrical writing.
I think also there's one more thing to it, that storytelling in films using songs as an aid is something in the manner that we do is something which is a uniquely South Asian thing, and the great masters before us probably did it better than we did. We are the generation who's kind of slightly restless with it, but we are not able to let go of it also because we have enjoyed it so much while growing up. And so on one hand, when you're telling a story like this, you feel that this thing's much more real than usually what happens, and why should these guys start singing? But on the other hand, you also have this thing that, hey, this thing's only alive in South Asia, in the whole world, and how can we just let go of it? So it's a bit of that. Again, like I think the young people in the film, we are also in two boats. So yeah, for example, Tere Mere Beech Mein song, what it helped us do was also to save screenplay time, because these two people meet. And now this guy Raghu, Sushant is playing, he hasn't had a relationship before, and he's looking, and the character that Parineeti is playing has had a few before. She's a little more experienced in that sense. If we had done that whole thing in scenes, it also might have been a little bit boring, or it might have become serious. In a song, what you can do is, you can, in a charming kind of a view, you can have a little bit of a negotiation in both the characters, and they're saying, look, fine, let's go ahead with it, but this is how I'm going to be, and this is how you're going to be, and these are my boundaries, and these are your boundaries, and if it kind of works fine, we'll take it to the next level. So we just thought it would be a much better way to do it in a song, and that also makes a song fun, rather than your routine Antara Mukhra structure of Hindi film songs. You can just play around with it a little bit, and just have a conversation going. So it was fun. Sachin Jigar are very talented music directors. They are Preetham's assistants, so Preetham trained them well. So yeah, we had fun, and it saved us a lot of time.
Parineeti, a wonderful start to your career. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about, and you mentioned, you went off the top, you did mention a little bit about choosing projects, etc. But, a curse or a blessing is what I'm basically asking you. Did you feel that you had to be a little bit more careful about the next film that you made, or you feel like, it was all out there for you to take, like for the taking? And then also if you could talk about the significance of your relationship with Yash Raj Films as well.
Curse or a blessing? Well, see, the good thing was that I got accepted in my first film and my second film. See, in the Bollywood rule book, for an actress or an actor, it's very important.
The unofficial one, you mean?
Yeah, no, the official one, actually. Yeah, the official one, is for an actor to do a leading role. That's very important. But I didn't start off like that. In fact, I was 1/5 of the pie in that film. There were four girls and a boy. But the good thing was that I was accepted in that film, thanks to Manish. He was the director. And in my second film, which was a leading role, people accepted me as well. So if you think about from a trade point of view, then it's okay for directors to now give me a leading role.
Okay.
If that hadn't happened, even then I would have worked equally hard to choose the right scripts, to choose the right films, to do everything. But because that happened, there wasn't any pressure, but I didn't want to change that. I didn't want to change the things that I was reading about myself in the papers. There were good things being written about my performance, about the films that I was doing, everything. And I didn't want to change that. So yes, 50-50 pressure of choosing the right thing. But for me, it's very, very, very important to be a part of a film that I'm genuinely happy with. I have to be happy with the people that I'm working with, because I have to spend almost 8 months of a year with them, shooting and post. So I choose films based on that. And that is why after Ishqzade, I didn't choose anything. The good thing is that even up until now, everything is going well. I just hope it continues. Touchwood, yes. With Yash Raj, my first job when I came back to India after I studied in Manchester was with Yash Raj. I started as a PR and marketing intern, and that turned into a full-time job. In fact, I used to work with Avtar in the office.
Oh, you were an intern at Yash Raj?
Yeah, I was an intern at Yash Raj.
I didn't know.
Yeah, very much.
I'm waiting for a lot of applications to come through.
So my understanding of films, my acceptance of the world has happened only post Yash Raj. Before that I was a banker, used to not think much of films, actors and the industry. I used to think it was kind of beneath me because I was this hotshot banker. But all my love and my understanding has happened only after I joined YRF. So the fact that I, started out with them, the fact that, I'm being accepted with them, it's like home to me. So I feel amazing. There are people who work for years before they get a Yash Raj film. I'm getting to do 5 in the first 2 years of my career. It's amazing.
Avtar, let's talk about that changing global scope of Bollywood real quickly. You guys are obviously the leader in content and the way the content's being delivered worldwide in terms of what you guys are producing. What is the biggest surprise for you about the audience growth? Is it a particular place where all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, wow, people are watching our films there? Or is it just the fact that North America has this better acceptance of it? Maybe you can talk a little bit about the business that's changing.
No, actually, about 17 odd years ago, 18 years ago now, we made a film which is today the longest running film in Indian cinema history. It's called Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. It's still playing. It was released in October 1995. It's still playing in cinema in Bombay. Yes. A lot of things changed with that film. It's a film that defined the term Bollywood. It's a film that opened up the international markets. It's a film that showed us more money than we'd ever seen before as a company. And what happened was with that film, we didn't get to see a lot of the money from the international markets. But we were very, very clear that, things are changing. Things are changing very drastically. And these new stories are being accepted, not just in India, but globally. So our journey really started from that film. And in 1997, I started the first international office out of London. With a film called Dil To Pagal Hai. So what's been happening is that since then, there's been a complete shift. The business has grown for sure, but there's also been a complete shift in the kind of cinema that is now accepted both in India and abroad. There used to be one size fits all. There was something called a universal hit. That's very rare to come by now. What's happening is now, for example, even with Shuddh Desi Romance, it's worked really well in India, it's worked in the US and everywhere else, but there are other films that perhaps work more abroad and less in India now. So the audiences are changing, and as a result, our films that we're making are also changing. And our job is to basically go wherever the demand is. In fact, I had a really interesting conversation at a Ficky Frames conference in India, where the Chinese delegation had come in, and they asked me this question as to why on earth do your films do so well abroad outside of India? And the Chinese films, the number of films that they make, don't really connect. And my answer is very simple. We play to our strengths. We play to our strengths, that is music, that is the kind of stories that we tell. We speak a very different cinematic language than the entire world.
Right.
But we pitch our films to our audiences wherever they might be. And, you know, whereas of course Chinese films do really well, but they're still targeting the Hollywood audience, if you like. The Chinese audience, the ethnic audience, their own audiences are kind of almost sidelined. But we don't do that, and we go straight to our audiences first. And if, you know, there is a crossover potential, or is, you know, if there is an appeal for non-Indians, then that's bonus. So our business, or our films, wherever they might be accepted, our job is to make sure that they're there.
Renu, I'll get you in 1 second. Have you ever been approached about remaking DDLJ?
Yes, Harvey Weinstein actually wanted to do that. He wanted to do it on Broadway.
You said no to Harvey Weinstein?
Hey, I work for Aditya Chopra. You know who he is?
Excellent. Good answer. Renu.
By the way, Harvey Weinstein has just picked up our film, Grace of Monaco, for the US.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations. That happened.
So we're still friends.
In Toronto?
Yeah. No, this was done earlier.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Renu Mehta with the Indian Express. My question is for Pariniti. You said you were a hotshot banker and acting was beneath you. So what brought about that entry into films? Was it because you were working with as a PR intern, or or because your cousin was also in films?
Well, my cousin's been in films for almost 12 years now, and we had a superstar at home. So if I had to get inspired by her, it would have happened years ago, not just 2 years ago. So no, it wasn't because of that. In fact, I used to find her job also to be very easy, but that's because I was naive and I didn't understand the profession. But once I joined YRF, I got to spend a lot of time with actors, directors, and that's when I realized why actors were so sought after, why the film business was, why everybody became so famous and why they were paid the big bucks. I understood, it looks really glamorous from the outside, but I understood how much of creativity and talent is behind all of that. So the 1.5 years that I spent in the office is when I developed respect for the profession and I wanted to do it. And at that time, I was working on Band Baja Barat, the promotions, and I met Manish. And in fact, I used to manage his interviews and I used to do the PR for him and Ranveer and Anushka at that time.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he spoke to Adi about me, and I guess they together decided that I was right for Dimple Chadda. And it was, thanks to him that I didn't have to struggle for too long, because the moment I resigned from my job, I got an offer. So yeah, thanks to him.
Sorry, coming back to the film, guys. There's a line that Rishi Kapoor says, तुम लोग भगते बहुत हो. पहले एक दूसरे के पीछे भगते हो, फिर एक दूसरे से दूर भगते हो. Pariniti, are we a generation of runners away from our traditions, our cultures, what we've been all about?
No, I think we're a generation of non-conformists. We don't, I don't think we go by any rule book anymore. I think every youngster, in fact, even people who are one generation before us, like my parents, for instance, everybody is doing what they really want to do. 50 years ago, that was not the case. We had to do what the society asked us to do, our parents asked us to do, what was the right thing, even if we were not happy. But today, if we are running towards each other or away from each other, it's because we're not happy where we are, and we're trying to find things that are making us happy.
Talk about the relationship or the atmosphere on set, Manish, with working with Rishi Kapoor, the legend that he is. That must have been a great treat, of course. And then how would the rest of the cast feel about working with him?
Well, rest of the cast will tell you, but
I can already hear your response to your body language. But Manish, if you could start.
See, I've been a huge Rishi Kapoor fan, so I mean, I was very, very excited when he accepted to play this part. And one thing I must say, which was very, very exciting for both me and Jaideep, that when he had agreed to do the film, he told us very frankly that I am doing it because you guys are trying something new. I have no idea how this film's gonna pan out. I have no idea how my character's gonna pan out, but I'm just trusting you guys and just going with the right only because of your conviction. And it was in that sense a very different equation, because here was this legend of an actor who has believed in the spirit of the filmmakers, not even the film per se. And still, when he would come on set, he was in a very strange way very driven. Sometimes, culturally, and the character's environment, Goel Saab's environment, was not something he was very, very familiar with. But once he was on set, it was amazing to see how he would adapt himself, to the environment, and it was genuinely a very, very big learning experience. I'm assuming even the actors learnt a lot from him. That surely spoke of great experience and great confidence he has in the craft. So yeah, that was, other than that, all the youngsters are there. We are all like young lads trying to figure out the scene and making it happen. And then suddenly, you have this father figure of an actor who is the biggest child on the set, actually. So it was a very strange combination.
The biggest child?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
was that a good thing, or?
Oh, it's a great thing. It's
so
it's
he had
very
a youthfulness,
inspiring, actually.
Right. He had a youthfulness about him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he's just a very inspiring personality.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the acting perspective of working with Mr. Rishi Kapoor?
Yeah, I was actually very nervous about working with him, actually, because you assume that because he's worked for so many years, he wouldn't want to do a lot of retakes. He wouldn't be patient with you if you mess up your line. So, I wanted to be really prepared when I was working with him. But the amazing thing about him is that he doesn't intimidate you by telling you, look, I've done 300 films and this is your third film, and so you better do your job right. He doesn't behave like that. Once the camera rolls, he's as excited about the scene and about his dialogues and what he wants to do, and he improvises so much and he's so spontaneous that all you have to do is react to him, So for me, when I did all the scenes with him, yes, it was intimidating before the camera rolled because you don't want to make any mistakes. Mm-hmm. But after that, it's just magical because you literally are just watching him and you're reacting. You just have to learn your dialogues and everything else just happens after that.
Wow. That's a lot of credit given to a person who definitely deserves it. Are there any more questions from the audience? I wanted to, Avtar, I want you to take the opportunity to tell us a little bit more about the other projects you do have coming out within the next year, so that we can keep some stuff on our radar.
Yeah, in fact, we're venturing into South Indian films, and we're remaking Manish's first film, Band Baja Barat, in Tamil, which will release in December. And then we've got a film that's by far the biggest film coming out of India this year. It's the most expensive film. It's the first Indian film in IMAX, and it's the third in the installment of a Dhoom series. So it's Dhoom 3, which comes out on Christmas, right, on 20th of December. And then there's a whole host of films next year, and we've just announced a film called Pani with Shekhar Kapoor.
Okay.
And so we're just in the process of getting that together. But so that'll be another really huge film. Probably about eight odd films next year.
So the world is watching tonight, obviously, for the gala premiere. Manish, I'm going to ask everybody very quickly to tell us, what are your nerves like when you walk an international red carpet like this, especially being here in Toronto?
Worry about your clothes.
I'm just jet lagged, is all I can say. No, I mean, frankly, it has not really sunk in yet. All I can say is, I think I'll be saying the same thing this evening because that's the truest emotion I have. Well, I studied in Cal Arts I've been a film school student, and during those years, your biggest ambition is to have a screening in a film festival. You take a lot of pride if your student work gets noticed or accepted in any prestigious film festival. So it has been a long drawn dream of 11 years now, and it's great to now exhibit your work in such a prestigious film festival like TIFF. And so yeah, I will be reliving my school days dream, and hopefully there will be a lot of excitement with that.
Great. Yourself, Pariniti?
Oh, I'm very excited. First of all, it's my first time to Toronto, so I was excited about traveling
first
here.
time ever in Toronto.
Yeah, first time ever. So I was excited about traveling here. Also, Ishaqzadi went to a lot of festivals and I never got to go. So it was like a dream. Sorry?
Last year.
Yeah, it came here. See, it went all over and I didn't go all over. So I really wanted to come here, watch the film with subtitles, with a foreign crowd. It's really very exciting, and I know we're going to have a great time today.
You're going to meet a lot of foreign family members too.
Yeah, loads.
Yourself?
I haven't yet seen the film with the audience since it released. I've just Manish has told me of wonderful reactions that we got in India, and I'm getting texts about people clapping and enjoying themselves, and I just I hope I see something like that today. I also hope that I get to see the nature of this divide today, because that is exactly what the story is about. And I hope we wade right into the divide and see what it is. It's like a conversation with our parents in a way. The other thing is that in a strange way, I've had many films which have done very well, but I've never seen the first week of any of them where the whole euphoria thing or whatever has happened. Like, for example, when we did Chak De, Shimit and I were in LA, and we were getting these calls, or Yash called from India saying people are going nuts and you guys need to be back here. And I told Shimit, let's go back. And Shimit said, Jaideep, if you know what, we shouldn't see that. We might get spoiled. So I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Let's stay here. So I just hope I don't get spoiled if there's a good reaction.
There's a question? Yeah.
Marco Ovid, is this working? Marco Ovid, I'm with the Toronto Star. I just wanted to ask a question, I guess it's throwing it about a little bigger, and asking about a lot of news coming out of India recently has been around sexual assault. And do you think it's important to have films where you have strong, independent, modern female roles, especially, I guess, in India?
I think it is more than important. I think it's critical. Because conservatism in old societies, conservatism leads to both frustration and repression, and that leads to a whole lot of nasty side effects. And to stop those things from happening, the first reaction of many societies is to go back to even more conservatism, which has even more nasty side effects. And this vicious cycle has to be broken, and the only way it can be broken is by giving 50% of your population a voice. You cannot have half of your population locked up in homes or be told to behave in a certain way and hope to get anywhere as a society. So I think it's not just important, it's critical.
Anybody else want to make a comment? Or I think that was a nice way to sum that answer up. On behalf of the Toronto International Film Festival, I'd like to thank you guys for spending this quality time with us this afternoon. And of course, good luck at the premiere at the Roy Thompson Hall today at 6 p.m. I'm sure your fans will be there as well. This is being streamed online as well, so to a global audience. Congratulations. Thank you to Yash Raj Films for bringing the film here. We hope to see more work from your camp here at the Toronto Film Festival. And I believe that's it. So we'd like to wrap things up from the Toronto Film Festival press conference for a random Desi romance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much for coming.